Hey there, how you all doing? Here we are again to continue with part 2. It seems to me that no need of a huge introduction. As we all know, we have completed part 1. So in this video, we'll go through vital organs of our body. Come, let's have a look. First part we are gonna discuss is neck. Inspect anteriorly, laterally, and note if any lumps, asymmetry, or scars are present, and also observe for any distended neck veins. If any lump is seen, ask the patient to take a sip of water, hold it in their mouth, and then swallow. These three commands gives the examiner to position themselves to watch the neck lump on swallowing. Any lumps attached to the pretracheal fascia will move upward on swallowing, that is a thyroid lump or a thyroglossal cyst, and then ask the patient to open their mouth and stick their tongue out. A midline lump that moves upward on tongue protrusion is a thyroglossal cyst, and then palpitate anteriorly to check for tracheal deviation. Percussion over sternum for retrosternal goiter, and finally occultate for carotid broods, thyroid broods, and any other neck lumps. If pulsatile with broods, suspect carotid artery aneurysm. For thyroid, inspection is done completely to anterior and lateral sides of the neck. Estimate the smooth stride counter from the cricoid cartilage to the suprasternal notch. Measure any prominence beyond this imagined counter using a ruler placed in the area of prominence. Palpitation. The patient is examined in seated or standing position. Standing behind the patient attempts to locate the thyroid isthmus by palpitating between the cricoid cartilage and the suprasternal notch. Move your hands laterally and try to feel under the sternocleidomastoid for the fulliness of the thyroid. Ruling out goiter. Normal to small with lateral prominence less than 2 mm, and then larger than normal, that is 2 times more than the normal, with lateral prominence greater than 2 mm. Examination of thyroid for nodularity. Thyroid nodules are common. Half of the thyroid glands examined by ultrasound or direct visualization have nodules. By physical examination, we can detect approximately 10% of nodules. They are common with age and are more likely found in women than in men. Less than 5% of all nodules are cancerous. Next, pulmonary examination. The examination of pulmonary system is a fundamental part of physical examination, consisting of inspection, palpitation, percussion, and occultation. It begins with the patient seated comfortably on the examination table and his body is completely exposed. The chest and patient breathing patterns are then inspected, followed by palpitation of chest wall, percussion of thorax, and occultation of lung field. With this, we can't conclude. We should also collect patient's medical history and prompt initiation of therapy. Inspection of breathing patterns. Normal respiratory rate is 12 to 20 per minute in adults and up to 44 per minute in infants. Bradypnea less than 12 per minute. Trachypnea uses accessory muscles of respiration such as scalene muscles and pectoris major during inspiration. This is also called shallow breathing and is greater than 20 per minute. Hyperpnea is also greater than 20 per minute and is also called deep breathing. Common abnormal patterns. Chain stroke breathing, alternating periods of deep breathing followed by apnea caused usually due to advanced heart failure or damage to respiratory centers. Example stroke, traumatic brain injuries, etc. Ataxic breathing, irregular breathing rhythms and depth. Obstructive breathing, prolonged exhalation. Peripheral signs of respiratory dysfunction. Cyanosis, bluish discoloration of skin and mucosa due to deoxygenated hemoglobin. Nail clubbing. Etiologies include chronic hypoxemia, congenital heart diseases, or cardiac stents. COPD doesn't cause nail clubbing, but a COPD patient with nail clubbing is concerned for underlying malignancy. Normally, nails are convex in shape with 160 degrees angles between nail base and skin, as I already mentioned this in part 1. But here, loviboard angles with greater than or equal to 180 degrees between the base of the nail and skin is seen. They are generally feel like spongy when pressed and springs back when released. Palpitation. Evaluate areas of tenderness. Place both hands on the patient's back at the level of 10th rib with a thumb pointing medial and parallel to the rib cage. As the patient inhales, evaluate for asymmetric movements of your thumbs. Percussion is always done for both sides of the chest at the same level with middle finger by placing the distal interphalangeal joint against the chest wall. Pathological findings. Hyper resonant percussion note. Louder and hollower than normal is a sign of increased air inside the thoracic cavity. This indicates emphysema or bronchial asthma. Dull percussion note. Muffled and softer note is a sign of fluid filled inside thoracic cavity, which indicates pneumonia and pleural effusion. Finally, occultation. Vesicular breathing. Soft and low pitched through inspiration and parts of expiration. This is heard over both lungs. Bronchovesicular breathing. Intermediate intensity and pitch through both inspiration and expiration. Heard over first and second intercostal spaces. Bronchial breathing. Loud and high pitches through parts of inspiration and all parts of expiration. Heard over the sternum. Tracheal breathing. Very loud and high pitched through both inspiration and expiration. Heard over neck or trachea. And next is heart. Cardiac examination is also called pericardial examination. This follows the standard structure of inspection, palpitation, and occultation. For cardiac examination, first criteria is positioning. The patient is positioned in supine position, tilted up at 45 degrees if the patient can tolerate this. The head should rest on a pillow and arms by their side. The torso and neck should be fully exposed. General inspection. Inspect the patient's status whether he or she is comfortable at the rest or obviously short of breath. Inspect the neck for increased jugular venous pressure or abnormal waves. Indicate any abnormal movements such as head bobbing. Hand inspection. Temperature. Warm or cool, clammy or dry. Skin. Turgor for hydration. Janeway lesions. At the nails, sphincter hemorrhage and Quinnix pulsations should be looked, as well as any deformality of the nails such as clubbing or peripheral cyanosis are also observed. Head inspection. Cheeks for malar flushes of mitral stenosis, ears for corneal arcus and surrounding tissue for xanthelasma, earlobes for Frank's sign. Inspect the pericardium for visible pulsations, apex beat. It means pulse felt at the point of maximum impulse, which is the point on the pericardium farthest laterally and downwards from the sternum, at which the cardiac impulse can be felt. And also observe for any scars or lesions as a sign of trauma or previous surgery or permanent pacemaker. Palpitation. Areas are palpitated for abnormal pulsations or palpable heart murmurs are called thrills. Pericardial movements called as heaves. Heaves are best felt with the heel of the hands and the sternal border. Palpitation of apex beat. It is found approximately in the fifth left intercostal space in the mid-clavicular region or line. It can be impalpable for a variety of reasons, including obesity, effusion, and emphysema, and also rarely due to dextrocardia. The apex beat is accessed for size, amplitude, location, impulse, and duration. Often, apex beat is felt diffusely over large area. Occultation. S1 and S2 sounds are abnormal or louder than the usual, indicates diastolic murmurs and systolic murmurs. The base of the lungs should be occultated for signs of pulmonary edema due to a cardiac cause such as bilateral basal crepitations. And next, abdomen. Here also the patient is instructed to lie in supine position and expose patient's abdomen. Inspection starts by noting any scars or vascular changes or protrusions, and also note the general counter of the abdomen. So here, important note is occultation should be performed prior to percussion and palpitation, as the physical manipulation of the abdomen may induce changes in bowel sounds. The purpose of occultation is to determine bowel sounds. Normal finding is gargling bowel sounds for every 5 to 10 seconds. Percussion. This is to determine the size and location of intra-abdominal organs. Normal findings are tympanic sounds over air-filled stomach or intestinal secretions, muffled sounds over fluid-filled or solid organs. Palpitation. The main purpose is to evaluate internal organs and identify any source of pain if present. Prior to palpitation, ask the patient whether they have any abdominal pain or tenderness. If so, begin palpitation in non-painful area. Observe the patient face during abdominal palpitation, as it is the main indicator of the intensity and location of pain. Abdominal tenderness may be a sign of numerous conditions, so go for differential diagnosis. And finally, liver. Percussion is done by placing the middle finger of your dominant hand against the abdominal wall, with the tip of the middle finger of your dominant hand striking the distal interphalangeal joint 2 to 3 times. Nextly, start below the breast at the mid-clavicular line. Percuss as you move your hand downwards and note the sound changes as your transition is from lungs to liver, that is resonant to dull. Continue until the sound changes again after the inferior margin of liver. Liver scratch test. Stethoscope is placed below the zymphoid and the mid-clavicular line and is scratched with a fingernail. Scratch can only be heard distinctly over the liver. This is more accurate than percussion. Hepatomegaly. An enlargement of the liver is well defined by ultrasonographic findings of liver span greater than 16 centimeters in the mid-clavicular line. This can be caused by various conditions including malignancy, infection, or venous congestion. With this, we have completed part 2. We'll definitely complete this with part 3 as this is getting more. So thanks for clicking. Hope this is informative. If so, please like, share and comment. I'd really appreciate if you hit the subscribe button. See you all next week. Bye.